Hi y'all! This is probably my first vlog after Vlogmas, so you're either seeing this mid-February or like December 30th. There's no in between. I have been destroying this bag of Dots honey mustard pretzels in the most unsophisticated fashion, so it's probably good I'm turning on the camera and closing the back. It is the day after Christmas. I've just been laying in bed all day and I was like, I need to finish my book. So I whipped out my Kindle. I was reading Snow Place in LA by Julie Murphy and Sierra Simone. I bought this when it was either free or like $1 because I read A Very Merry Christmas or whatever it's called, the first book in this series, last year or the year before, and it was pretty cute. I really liked it. It was about this porn star last minute fills in for an actress on like a regular movie set for like the Hallmark Channel, so she has to go from one end to the other, and that book was fine. And this is a novella that takes place afterward of like a couple of the crew members on that movie who are also like porn industry set designers, and the other one's a costume designer, which I knew none of that going into it. I just knew it was connected to the series, so I wanted to read it. It is a male-male romance written by two women, which anytime I read a book like that, I just become so painfully aware of it. This book really had no function other than to be porn. I mean, it was like 100 pages that took me like an hour to read. I kind of didn't care about the characters. There really was no purpose to it. And it wasn't really even Christmassy until the very end. They fucked in a hot tub that belonged to one of the characters' bosses, and I was like, hey, why is there cum in the pool that you don't own? I wouldn't recommend it. It also just had very cringy writing, and it would use like funny references to things that weren't funny. And I think part of it might just be that the editors forced them to give context to some of the jokes. Because at one point it was like, my doormat says, "Where the hell have you been, Loca?" And then in parentheses it was like, that's my favorite quote from the Twilight franchise. It's like, we all know the Twilight quote. So it just over-explained every joke, and a lot of the jokes weren't funny even if they were explained. I just wasn't for me, and the more that I read romance, I guess I'm just reaching for the absolute wrong things, because the more that I read, the more that I'm like, do I even like this genre anymore? That's a wrap for me on this series, I think. I might read the sequel. Is the sequel good? Because I liked book 1. It was like a 3 or 4 star book. Oh, it's my little handsome! Come join me in the corner. He looks so mad. Okay. The book that I really want to read that I brought to my parents' house for Christmas and then didn't get the chance to start is The Golden Compass. As we all know, I'm a Narnia girl, so I never read this when I was a kid. And I know absolutely nothing about it, but the fact that there's a polar bear and a girl in winter wear on the cover makes me think this would be a good wintertime read. I've also never seen the movie, but this is a middle grade book. I'm gonna have to come back to you later with what this is about. I'm sure I'm the last person in the world to read these because this is a very beloved children's series. I believe it's fantasy. I mean, there has to be some kind of fantastical element for her to be with a polar bear, but I've always wanted to read this during the winter time, and it is finally time for me to tackle this. This is also on the list of like some of the most popular books of all time that I want to make sure that I read. Part 1, Oxford! I love Oxford! Also, I was just talking about, oh, there was a book that someone said they loved because it was set in Oxford. Babel by R.F. Kuang. Now I really want to read Babel faster because anything set in or around Oxford, that is like my #1 destination go-to spot right now. Oh, even just sentence #1, I know why my mom didn't let me read this as a kid. Lyra and her demon moved through the darkening hall. Oh. Oh, a demon. Oh, okay. After seeing myself in the viewfinder, I think I need a reset for my day. So even though it's like 2 o'clock, I'm going to get up, go shower, go fix my face, and then I will maybe make hot chocolate and reset and read this on the couch. But this is gonna be my venture. And I have work off until the day after New Year's, which today is the day after Christmas. So I have like another week of laying around that I get to do. And I need some of that time to be dedicated to reading and not watching fucking YouTube shorts all day. Good evening, friends. It's been a couple hours. I definitely didn't fall asleep, but I'm not gonna lie, it also did not help that this book is so surprisingly scientific. I continue to be astounded that some books that are middle grade are considered middle grade, because this book is so hard to understand so far, and I know my 10-year-old self would have been like, huh? So I'm about 50 pages in, 60 pages in. It's still kind of setting up the rising action of the gobblers, which are these like child kidnappers that I think the plot is gonna hinge off of. It's also set in an alternate world, I think. It's so difficult to grasp the world because it seems like it's based off of Oxford and England and real places. But then it will mention things that I don't know if it's real or not. Having it on Kindle will help so I can highlight things, because like I said, this is so scientific and so surprisingly mature. So thank goodness my library on Libby had the entire trilogy on Kindle, so I just downloaded that. I didn't realize this was recently just adapted to an HBO show. That's kind of tea. I'm going to transition to reading this on my Kindle because I desperately need to be able to highlight things. I've been trying to put my phone in the other room and read without this. Oh my god, it's almost 1 a.m. But I keep finding myself being like, what is that? Is that real? What is this? But the crux of this plot takes place in the north. It keeps talking about Finland and Svalbard, which that is very interesting to me. So once we get out of England and more toward the Arctic Circle, I'm sure it'll be very wintry vibes. And again, I took a nap earlier, so I'm probably gonna be awake now until like 4 a.m. This will be fun. Hey y'all, you know it's 3 p.m. because the babies have started begging for dinner because they're starved. Update, I've been slowly making my way through the Golden Compass, so now I am 200 pages in, which is just over halfway. I'm trying to like it. I will say, it's not bad by any stretch. I just think it's doing a lot, and it's not a genre I enjoy too much. So I thought it was gonna be fantasy, but it's very sci-fi, steampunk feeling, and it's kind of hard to wrap your head around. So it's set in our world, but things are called different things. So there's like England, but it's called something different, and then there's Germany, but it's called something different, and then there's Norway, but it's called something different. So there's like parallels. So I desperately need a glossary for this book, and it does not exist. I also desperately need a map for this book, and it does not exist. But also the technology aspects of it are really confusing me, because there's airplanes and photography and magic, and there's witches, and every single character in this book has like a demon or a daemon or however you pronounce it that follows them around, and it doesn't explain why or what kind of magic system is there. So I'm just gonna predict right now that I don't think I'm gonna continue this series. It's finally getting good. It took like 150 pages for it to even have a plot, because the first half of it was just like setting up like, ooh, there's a problem, kids are disappearing, and now they're actually going to help the kids. But she's traveling with this band of people called the Egyptians, which I was like, oh, like Egyptians? But they have this slang way of speaking, and it also mentions that they're from like East Anglia or something, so I'm wondering, no, meanie. Brother was fighting sister. Yeah, mean. Anyway, I'm curious if it's trying to be like a Romanian, I don't want to say the slur, but I don't know, I'm a skeptic. I think I've said this before, but I continue to be impressed that this is a children's book, because I'm grown and so confused. But I'm gonna keep going. Right now it's soaring toward being a 3-star book, but hopefully the action picks up at the end, and hopefully there's not a cliffhanger, because I really don't want to continue the series. Hogwarts. No. But I just got up and like brushed my teeth and put on an outfit, if a sports bra and leggings can be called an outfit. I've been like traveling and going to my parents' house for Christmas. I've been laying in bed until 5 a.m. feeling crusty and dusty, reading. I need a reset badly. So what I did is I made a wheel of chores, but I avoided putting anything on here that involved leaving the house. The worst that can happen is I have to take out my trash. But anyway, I want to do something from this list. So click to spin. I have to run a wash. I'm gonna go do that. Gordo, I have to get up. I don't want to get up because he's so happy. Gordo, mommy has to go do chores. Come on, handsome. Good boy. I ended up doing some side tasks, which were also chores, but now everything's looking spick and span. Still have to wash those sheets. I need to go return. I got a duplicate box set for Christmas. 2 people got me Lord of the Rings, so I want to return this so I can also get a credit back and do some more book shopping. It's open till 7, so I figured let's just go do an errand real quick together. After that, I also need to make dinner because I've been having Christmas leftovers and it has not been something I've wanted to do, to cook something fresh. I have a couple different recipes to choose from, so I'll just do it with you to force myself to do it. And then I also need to do a walk and to pick something up from the grocery store, so I might do that today or tomorrow. We'll see. But come with me to go to UPS. Alright, made it home from my errands. Another day of ignoring my car's check engine light that's been on for like 2 months now. Because that's a problem for future me. While I was at the UPS store, I stopped and got some of my favorite bagels from the grocery store and some cheese. I have like a pasta ricotta recipe, so I think I'm gonna do that. Let me read the recipe right quick. Okay, yes, I just reviewed the recipe and it's very doable, but it requires a pasta shape that I don't have. So let's see what I do have. Looks like some chickpea rotini, and then it's like a ricotta broccoli skillet pasta, so I'm gonna get some broccoli out of the freezer and then roast it in my air fryer, but I need to get this boiling first. Okay, well I ended up having to double the sauce recipe because it was so dry. And also, the pasta fell apart. Good old chickpea pasta. But let's give it the old taste-a-rooney. I like doused this in Parmesan, so hopefully it's salty enough. Nope, it needs more salt. I tried. It's good though. Good morning. I don't even remember if I updated last night about where I got in my book, but I did not get very far at all. I think I read like 30 pages, so then I got distracted. It's fine. I just woke up. It's like 7:45, and last night I was kind of like, if I wake up early enough, I kind of want to go to Trader Joe's in the morning. So it's like thundery and dreary, but I like going to Trader Joe's right when they open because like no one's there. I think I'm gonna get ready and go do that. So come with me on my errands. Okay, y'all, it's 11:30. I just finished The Golden Compass, and that was low-key shit from a butt. What? I don't even know if I came back and gave a full synopsis for this, so let me start there. So this book follows Lyra, who is an 11-year-old that lives in Oxford. There are children disappearing all over England, so she teams up with some people to go after them because she has like this rare tool given to her. And there's like, I struggled to give you a better synopsis than that because there are so many layers to this that were so confusing. What is going on? And it was so underexplained. The things that should have been explained in page 1 didn't get explained until like page 300. Mainly, I was wondering, like, every single human in this world has a demon or a daemon, and it's never explained why that is or what purpose they have. And even when it is explained, the person was like, no one knows. Huh? Which that is one of the parts that I did like about this, is there were very sweet like companionship scenes between her and her little sidekick. His name is Pan. Oh, my cats are fighting. And also one of the title characters on the cover, the polar bear, I liked his character as well. But my main gripe with this is it was just doing so much and it was so underexplained. So the beginning of it sets up like all this sci-fi drama and, oh, there's this weird stuff that we have to figure out why it is that way. And then they just go off on a mission to save these missing children. I'm like, that's not at all what you just said the problem going on in this book is. It's hard to figure out like who's good and who's bad. I also just found it very boring, and that probably is because there felt like there was so much going on between all the fantasy and sci-fi elements. I know I've said this before, but I desperately needed a glossary too. I can see why this went viral as a bestseller because Lyra is a very interesting main character. She's smart, she is cunning. That's the same thing as smart. She's a fun main character to follow, but to the point where sometimes she would be like outsmarting adults and just twisting the rules. And there's a point where she's like being held captive and she escapes because they do a fire drill. It's like, why are they letting you outside? So there just was also some plot holes with that that kind of annoyed me. One thing I wasn't expecting is there's a Texan character. So again, some locations in this book are fictional and some of them are Texas. I was kind of joking with Bonnie, like it really tripped me up the fact that we have witches and talking polar bears and there's also a Wells Fargo bank. It's just the randomest combination. And it's funny because when I was a kid, I think I've talked about this before, I was allowed to read and watch Narnia, but not this series. Like my mom, who was very Christian, is like, you cannot read this. And I kind of understand why, because there's weird Christian, pro-science, anti-church messaging, and this is something that I could probably research and unpack, but I do not care to do it. If this whole book is an allegory for religion or science or what, I don't know if it was trying to be a moral about false gods or the separation of church and state. I have no clue what it was trying to do, but I'm like, you're a kid's book. Why are we talking about religion and dust particles in the aurora right now? Maybe I'm stupid, but I am shocked at the age expected to read this. And I remember I had these books in high school, and I still think I would have been too dumb in high school to scoop what it's pooping, because I'm 28. Nope, I'm 27 and I have no idea what was going on. I've had a very difficult time finishing this book. I think I'm gonna settle on like a 2.5 stars. I saw the potential in this and I liked the main character and the animal sidekick elements of it. It definitely was wintry, which is the reason I wanted to read it. The whole second half of the book, she's like trudging through the snow in the north. So it delivered on that end, which is primarily the reason I picked it up. So I can't stay mad at it for that. But one of the other things is I am so curious how this book would get adapted. Probably more so with the original movie, because I'm not trying to watch an entire HBO TV series on it. But it was so boring. I'm like, how do you translate this into a movie that makes sense? Like, I guarantee they must have changed a lot of the plot in this to make a movie make sense, because one, like, nothing happens in the first half, and two, how do you unpack the 15,000 layers of this plot into an hour-and-a-half long kids movie. I do have the entire series on Kindle from the library, but not sure if you can gather from this review. I don't think I'm gonna be continuing it, which I felt bad because I thought this was like a highly loved and raved about series, but I just mentioned I was reading this in my live stream I did after Vlogmas and someone was like, I fucking hate that book. So I feel seen, and hopefully I'm not the only person who feels this way. But I'm glad I read it. It's one of the most popular children's books. It definitely is not like an apples to apples thing for Narnia, in my opinion. Maybe it was supposed to be. I don't know. Again, I have not researched it at all. I just like to read my comments afterward, like when I read Little Women, and have everyone explain it to me. So feel free to explain it to me. What am I missing? That being said, I feel like this is gonna be a half-hour vlog, so I will stop yapping your ear off. Thank you everyone for joining me. It's been so nice having no work, so hopefully these vlogs have been a comfort to you as you're either returning to work or just wrapping up the new year. So not sure when you'll be seeing this, but I hope you will or are having a happy new year, and I will see you in my next one. Bye.